Really, Rose? You're playing Celeste? Don't you think that's a bit stereotypical? Next, you're gonna tell me that you have one of those IKEA sharks. Yes. I'm not much of a speedrunner, but I wanted to give it a shot with a game I've played before called Celeste. I played it a few years ago on my Switch and would occasionally get back on it when Breath of the Wild or Smash wasn't fun enough for me, only to realize that I am not skilled enough to collect all the little strawberries and collectibles. Now, originally, I was thinking of running the game on my Switch, but I couldn't find it. I took a whole 20 seconds of looking around and was befuddled at how incapable I was of finding it. But I really wanted to do the run, and I had an idea. If you aren't aware, Steam has a return policy of if you return a game that you have less than 2 hours of playtime in, then you can get a full refund. I knew what I had to do. My goal was to get Celeste, beat it in under 2 hours, brag about how I'm the #1 Celeste speedrunner, make this video, and live out the rest of my days satisfied. The run started and I got stuck on the title screen because I didn't know that the main button to progress was C and lost about a minute, so that's a wonderful way to start the run. The only reason I was able to get through it was because I was in a call with my friend and they told me what button to push. Alright. How do I... Why is it not starting?
E.
E?
You gotta press C.
Oh. I didn't think this was like a button. I thought it was a logo. Now it's time to actually play the game. You know, I'm ready, I'm confident, and immediately die in the tutorial. I usually play most of my games with keyboard and mouse because I find it more comfortable, but Celeste just does not work as one of those games for me. Jumping with C, using X to dash, or whatever the key is, just is too difficult for my brain to handle, so I decided I would plug in my controller and just play it how God intended. Except now I had to go searching for the USB cord to plug in my Pro Controller, and then once I got that set up, OBS was giving me trouble and not recording the game. So in all, I lost about 6 minutes trying to actually set everything up once I already launched the game, and made 0 progress. World record pace. Now once I was actually playing Chapter 1 though, it was a breeze, and besides some silly deaths here and there, I made it out unscathed. It only took like 15 minutes, which I'm sure is just amazing. Now, Chapter 2 was the introduction to my 2 biggest obstacles this run, Purple Madeline and my inability to navigate through levels. For whatever reason, throughout this entire run, I just was incapable of actually finding the correct path to progress, and was only finding the strawberry paths that I don't need. If I was trying to do a 100% speedrun, this video would be like 100 times longer. But after 22 deaths, and trying to figure out how to outsmart a shadow clone, God, I beat Chapter 2 in just over 10 minutes. I was feeling confident. Sure, there were some hiccups along the way, but I was feeling I could beat the game within the 2-hour time limit. It only took 20 minutes to get to Chapter 3 after all. Speaking of which, I wonder what's here. These friggin' fluffballs of death are annoying. They show up after you touch these hairy walls, kept leading me to my death over and over and over. But I also had another issue. I'm blind. Well, it's more like I'm really bad at distinguishing from the background and foreground and paying attention to my surroundings. So I'm just incompetent. I did it correctly the first time. Now I can. Oh, there's another platform there.
Did you not see it?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see this.
Blind woman.
I'm very blind. I feel like a fool. I didn't notice these floating platforms while I was doing this jump and kept failing to my death, only eventually realizing the second floating platform and trying to reach it without seeing the first one that would have made this part insanely easy. So far, it was very apparent that the biggest obstacle in this run was myself, and my inability to figure out where I'm going. We did, however, have deep philosophical conversations while in the background I just was continuously getting killed.
Tell him to get you the key.
I don't think he
Is he a
knows.
ghost?
I think he's a ghost.
Tell him to just fly through the wall and get you a key.
Maybe he's not that kind of ghost. Why do ghosts only like communicate with us through like moving chairs?
I don't know. They act like children.
Maybe they just revert. Like how when you get older, people say that you start acting more like a child. Maybe that's like the ultimate child phase. Or maybe you're
Death.
maybe it's because you're acting super young because you're acting like how you would be before you're born. Just because,
Before you're born, like a little swimming sperm.
yeah, you're acting like a sperm.
I don't like that idea. Why did you make me think of it like that?
You don't like the idea that when you die, you just become a sperm?
No. Oh, I guess that's kind of like reincarnation.
I'd hate myself if I got reincarnated into that.
To a sperm.
After 25 minutes, dying 58 times, I was 45 minutes into the run. How many chapters in this game again? Chapter 4 is the opposite of Chapter 3 in the fact that instead of being fuzzy, everything is spiky, and it also introduces wind, which sometimes is a blessing, and other times makes me want to slam my head into the wall. I never doubted myself. This chapter was definitely easier and shorter than the last one though, only taking 16 minutes, but that was just the calm before the storm, as Chapter 5 took over 30 minutes! This was the halfway point, as I only had 1 hour left to be able to return the game. This was the most confusing level for me, by far. Trying to, first of all, just find out where I was supposed to go, probably took 10 minutes on its own, then I had to deal with the magic flying meatballs of death, which charge at you, Ermagerd, while also having to carry around my friend in a glass prism. I also had so many close calls, where I almost made it out into the next checkpoint, but at the last second would fail, or just get killed by a meatball. My friend who was in the call set a timer about 15 minutes before the actual 2 hours was up, so that I would have enough time to be able, return the game. Speaking of which, how much time are we looking at?
By the way, you have 5 minutes left.
I have 5 minutes left? Okay, I can beat it. I had a triumphant effort, with only about 20 deaths once that countdown started.
You have 1 minute and 20 seconds.
I can make it. But I was unable to make it to the end in time. If only I had 15 more minutes. Anyway, I ignored the warnings of actually returning the game and kept going on, to make sure I beat the game and reached the top of the mountain, easy peasy. And I was doing so well, until I reached the main boss, Purple Madeline. Purple Madeline was like a force I've never seen before, taking like 30 hits to beat, it just kept sniping me over and over and over and over and over. But it was all worth it, as I was able to fuse with her, and now I had the ability to triple jump. I could almost taste the finish line. What do you mean I went over the 2-hour limit? So yes, despite my best efforts, I was unable to actually beat Celeste in under 2 hours and return it for a refund. I wasn't sure whether to keep going on, as I didn't feel like there was much of a point anymore. But I had nothing better to do, and it was already like 12 a.m. and I didn't want to go to bed before finishing the run, as it would turn it into like a 30-hour speed run. We were already on the final level and had a final boost of energy to beat the game, and we were ready for what was ahead. Okay, what we went through was hard, but we should hopefully be ready and prepared enough to handle most of what this game throws at us. The last level of Celeste is sort of a refresher, you could say, on all the challenges you face during your adventure. You got the fuzzballs of death, the spikes, a lot of wind in this one, the spikes, the moving cubes, the spikes. I was actually doing pretty decent at the start, especially because of the newly acquired triple jump, which just made the platforming feel so much more freeing. The fuzzball room was annoying, but the main struggle was just trying to get the timing down for certain sections. But after just throwing myself at it over and over, I eventually got it. All skill, baby. Same thing with the room that had the platforms that move when you double jump. That was a cakewalk. But we made it to the actual final area. Well, if you don't count the massive amount of collectibles we skipped, because come on, I could barely do the main levels. And suddenly, I remembered why it took me like 8 months to beat this game on my Switch. I feel like it's pretty apparent that I'm not the best when it comes to platformers, especially when they have any moderate amount of difficulty. So, when I got hit with these tight jumps and wind affecting me and having to time everything perfectly, I guess you could say I was experiencing having a bit of a skill issue. Over and over and over, I just kept going poof and having to redo it. Thankfully, the developers felt a little bit of mercy and put a ton of checkpoints throughout this section. Thank goodness. I'm forever in your debt, because I probably otherwise would not be able to beat this game. After every checkpoint, it felt so good, man. I was still kinda trying to race against the clock, so actually being able to make progress meant that I might actually be able to both have a finished run and turn it into a video, and to be able to sleep because it was so late at this point. But after many hours and defeats, Finally. 2 hours, 44 minutes, and 12 seconds. What's that, second place? I only had 440 deaths, which, to be honest, I thought that number would be at least twice as much. I know it sounds like I did a lot of complaining in this video, but I love Celeste, I promise. It's a very beautiful and cute and fun game, and I love Madeline very much. This is my first time ever attempting to speedrun something, and taking that into consideration, the fact that I haven't played Celeste in forever, I'd say I did pretty good. Hello. I wanted to say thank you for watching, and hello, Sharky, Blahag, how do you say it? IKEA Shark. I want to say thank you for watching this video. I'd appreciate it a lot if you would be able to share it, comment, and subscribe. Do all the YouTuber things, because it helps out with promoting the video. Comment maybe if there's any specific games or things you'd like me to do or cover. I have a TikTok, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram. Instagram has my art, the same with my Twitter. I stream on YouTube occasionally. I haven't been streaming the past week or two because I've been working on this. I've been focusing on this. But hopefully I can strike a more healthy balance. I'm outside. I think I just heard something scurrying, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. This will help me put food on this little shark's plate.